Hello, friends. It is Sarah here with Second Look Styling. I am a reseller out of Rochester, New York. I have my own shop that I sell on multiple platforms, and that's Poshmark, Mercari. I've dabbled in eBay, Facebook Marketplace, Kitizen, ThreadUp. I've tried them all, Curtsy. And I have my own Instagram shop as well, and I primarily sell off my Instagram shop at the moment. But I do sell in many different platforms. And one of the questions I get quite often is reselling. What is it? How do you get into it? How do you start? And I just wanted to go over some basics that may be helpful as to how I've got started and things that I've learned along the way that maybe you could attribute to your own business in your own life as an entrepreneur. Whether you're starting out or you're completely unaware of what you want to do, but you know you want to do something, whatever it is, this video could hopefully be helpful for you. So to get started, again, my name is Sarah. My username is at Second Look Styling on Instagram, my handle. Check me out there at Second Look Shop. I'll link it all below. And that's where I put all of my information and my thrifting tips. So I'm an avid thrifter. I love it. I don't just thrift for secondhand. I do garage sales, antique sales, Facebook Marketplace. I do retail arbitrage. I do a whole bunch of different things because I believe that multiple revenue streams is the way that you are very successful in any business and not just relying on one direct path. You can have a focus, but that doesn't mean that you can't have different paths towards getting to that focus. And that's why I always try to expand my streams of revenue and the sources they're coming from. For example, I also am about to launch my own Etsy shop as well, as an addendum to everything else that I'm doing so that I have different options that appeal to customers in different ways. So it's not just shoes, it's not just this, and that's okay if that's you. But for me, I like to have the variation in the mix, and it keeps my creative ebb flowing. So I have a full-time job in addition to reselling, and my full-time job is actually working as a marketer, PR, and communications specialist with our local nonprofit, Goodwill of the Finger Lakes. So I represent them. I'm known as Goodwill Sarah in the community because I just love Goodwill. I don't thrift exclusively there, but it is my thrift of choice. And I have that position, but I do all of this on the side with my business. And I work in people's homes as a stylist and a consultant. I do home decor styling. I do personal shopping. I do a whole bunch of different things. I started this side hustle. And then it was just like, I want a side hustle. I dabbled in different things. I was a Beachbody coach for a while because I myself did Beachbody. I was Monet hairstyles, etc. And I did well with all of those platforms. But I found that every time that I was coming back to selling clothing on Poshmark or being a stylist, I really, really felt like in my zone. So I decided to say, I need to capitalize on the things that I think I'm the best at and that feeling more so because I know that if I'm driven by passion and grit, that's going to make me more successful. My tenacity is going to be a little bit stronger, etc. if I really feel invested in it. So anybody can sell and do different things to have a side hustle. But if you're not like fully invested and believe in what you're doing, it may not be that successful and profitable for you, which is the reason for a side hustle, to bring in a little extra money. Am I right? So you might as well do it and love it while you're doing it. So the definition to me of a side hustle is some people do it because they want to sell things just because they want to dabble. They don't need to make money. They just want to. They want to have that extra, fun hobby, basically. Other people are like, I need help paying down some bills or my kids' clothes or this or whatever it may be. So they take on a side hustle. Some people like myself are like, I have a great job and I love that. But like, I really, really just have always wanted my own business. I thrive as an entrepreneur. I love it. I love the hustle. I love the heart, but I love how difficult it can be too. And I like growing and learning from that, which makes me better in all aspects of my life. I've always wanted to have my own shop, and I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I used to play with cash registers when I was younger. I literally asked for a cash register for Christmas once. True story. Which my mom still has in her house, so there's that. But I've always had that. I would line things up and pretend I had a shop and have people come shop in my shop and garage sales, all that stuff. I found at the core, those are things that were important to me. Those were things that I really liked putting my time into. So why not find some profit in the way that I enjoy doing things and helping others? I love serving my customers. I love doing that. So this was an opportunity for me to take the things that I knew I was good at, and I not just driven by my strengths, but driven by my heart. So I think that's really important. A big key for starting your own business, reselling, entrepreneurial work is what drives your heart, because that's going to drive your efforts. If your heart is not invested in something, you are not going to be as apt to put the time, which there's a decent amount of time you're going to have to put into really launching any type of business. You are going to have to turn down opportunities, turn down time with friends, etc., to really kind of hone in and really take out the rough edges of what it is that you're trying to do, and really focus. And then when you get to a point where you have a focus and you're a little bit more, okay, I got this, you can flex a little bit differently with your time. But the focus has to be there, which is why it has to be from your heart, and you have to want it. So I say the characteristics to have for a reselling business or to be an entrepreneur in any form, whether that's a part-time, full-time, whatever: passion and determination. You have to stand behind and believe in what you do. You are the biggest asset to your brand. You are your brand. So whether you're selling out of your home, like myself right now, because that's what makes sense for me, you have an actual physical brick and mortar or location or whatever it may be, a warehouse, regardless, passion and determination for what you do is how you will build, and how you will build an audience base. So be your brand at all times and replicate that. Meaning, I thrift for others. I put secondhand into others' lives. I make sure I model that in my own. This wicker wall, for example, is all secondhand items. Most of the decor in my home is what I'm wearing right now. My eyebrows are mine, but but like, you have to just walk your walk and talk it too. And so I live and breathe this, and I make it a point so that when someone talks to me and I have to talk about it, you can hear the passion in my voice. You can hear. Otherwise, I'm going to be like, yeah, I do this. And, oh, yeah, sure, if you want to check it out. But when it comes to second look, I'm like, oh, yeah, I do this. Oh, my God, I love it so much. This is why I love it. I love serving my customers. I love finding them the best deals. It just comes out differently, which people will invest in that before they'll invest in, yeah, check it out when you have time. You need to sell it to them through the way that you care about it, and it'll be natural, and you won't have to really do any work at all. Grit. It is okay, and you're going to fail. I say fail forward. So when we all fail, it's a learning opportunity, because, okay, it didn't work. That's all right, because not everything's going to. I mean, what world would you live in where everything you try the first time works? I mean, lucky you if so. But sometimes I do things and I'll buy something and think, oh my God, that is a perfect shirt. Someone's going to love that instantly. And no one picks it up. It happens. And then I know, okay, maybe not going to do that. Try again in 3 months when I have 300 new customers. All of a sudden, 3 people want that shirt. It just depends. So you're just growing and building. You learn your audience base. You have to be willing to be comfortable with making mistakes, messing up, not getting it right, and people not understanding or supporting what you do. So I have plenty of people that are like, I don't really get it. Like, what is it? Or it seems like a lot of work, or it's secondhand clothes. Like, what's secondhand? Like, I get that constantly. And with that face I just made. And I have to be on an educational platform to say, in a nutshell, here's my condensed speech. It's this, and this is why I love it. You start explaining yourself too much and getting into it, you've lost them. They already had a very limited attention span for wanting to know what you do in the first place as it is. Now you've lost them in total because you're like going on and on about it. Quick sentences, get right to the point. Write it on your phone if you have to, so you can copy paste if you need. But I have found that I had to get comfortable with people not always agreeing with what I'm doing, not supporting it, family and friends. Getting to a point where like people don't think you're doing it well, because I'm on Instagram and social media and everything else. It's a very visible way of doing my business. People might think like why'd you do that? And I'll get feedback that is unsolicited all the time. Like, hey, I saw this. I wouldn't have done that, or I wouldn't have put it out there that way, or are you sure that was the right move? And you know what? Maybe it wasn't, but I'm strategically always thinking about that next step for my business. And that's what failing forward is. Even if it wasn't the right move, it pushes me to receive your feedback or to think differently about what the next move is. But I have to be open to the criticism, which I'm trying to learn that everything can be constructive, because sometimes people can be really cruel. And when you put yourself out there, you're opening yourself to feedback. But sometimes people can be really cruel. And so you need to be able to realize that maybe they're just trying to help you and it's coming off wrong. You have 100 times more strangers who are watching you and supporting you and not saying a word than you have the ones who are hating on you in the first place. And it's okay, because if you got haters, that means you made it. So Go you, happy dance. But just keep in mind that when you make a mistake, you are failing forward. Everything is that next step. You cannot get stuck in it, and you can't go, oh, all right, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to doubt myself. You are absolutely going to doubt yourself. I'm not going to lie. You're going to doubt yourself. I do it. I've been doing this for a while now. I still doubt myself because I keep getting bigger. And the bigger I'm getting and the more people that have eyes on what I'm doing, there's more opportunity for me to feel like I'm messing up because I keep adding new elements. I keep trying new things. And there are plenty of things I'm not good at when it comes to this. But there are plenty of things I am. And I make it a point to work on both of those. So as much as this video is about reselling, it's also about professional growth and development for yourself in general. Seasoning, whatever season you're putting on the steak right now, it's just about the right seasoning and making the whole thing work and understanding that to be an entrepreneur or any type of professional, like these are just things that you're going to have to take into mind. Being flexible, being consistent, and doing your research. So specifically for reselling, when you're in the reselling community, you have to research the items for your profit margin. So you have to say like, is this something that I'm spending $5 on it, but it's a brand that's a mall brand that pretty much on clearance or even on sale, it's gonna be around that $5 to $10 anyway. So I'm only gonna make probably $5 to $10. Is that worth the investment? Because you don't just buy the piece. You have to store the piece, you have to photograph, you have to list it, and then you have to get it to the person. Like, is all of that time worth a minimal amount of money? And sometimes it is, because sometimes you can take 5 to 10 of those items and make a decent enough profit as a whole. But if you can only sell something as a one-time write-off of $5 to $10 for all the investment you have to put of your time, to me, the time is really the investment. As of someone who also has a full-time job, I'm constantly thinking, how can I maximize on my process while minimize my time? And it is a constant battle for me, and I have to really check in with myself and do self-awareness and be like, you need a break. Like, that's a big thing. You need to be able to say, like, I have to have awareness enough to know myself to take a break and step back because there's just too much going on. But you have to research all of the items. You're going to want to follow the people in the community who know what they're doing, who have, like, regardless of what it is you're looking into, like, what are they doing that's making them successful? And the best ones are the ones who will sit there and be like, these are the mistakes I made. Don't make them. Here's a quicker way from A to B. It took me 5 years. I'm giving it to you for 5 minutes. Listen to them. There are plenty of people in the community who will not share their tips because they're afraid people are going to mimic or take them and they're going to lose their edge. But there are that many more and then some that are willing to fully give of themselves and give you all the advice that you could ever need. Learn who's in your community, search the hashtags on Instagram. I've made so many connections. I've learned so many things just by doing that. Again, you don't know who's watching you, and you don't know, like, they don't know that you're watching them. So just put out your best information and do what feels right for you. But you do have to research your items. You have to learn as a reseller what tags sell well. So what brands are good, what brands are kind of on the out. Not just the top selling brand, but what are some cool vintage looking pieces? Oh, it's fall 2020. What are the trends for fall 2020? So I want to be applicable in my shop to give people the trends that they're looking for, thinking ahead. There's a whole bunch of things that go into it because, again, you're providing a product. So you want to make sure that that product is timely and then it's of interest. And so to do that, you have to know your audience, you have to know the community, and you have to know what is needed and wanted. So I might be sitting there in a store and be like, I have to check the comps on this item. It's a $5 whatever here. Oh, I've never heard of this brand. This is one of the brands Anthropologie sells. This is actually a retail value of $98. Okay, I'm gonna put that in my cart. So it's also standing in the stores, which, by the way, charge that phone, because this happens to me all the time. Pulling up a label that I recognize or I don't and checking comps. And that means, like, what is your COG up front? COG meaning what is your cost of goods? I'm going to spend 5, I'm going to make 80. Yeah. So my cost of goods there makes sense. I'm going to spend 5, I'm going to get 12. To me, that's not worth it. To you, it may be. It just depends. And especially as you're starting, you can aim right for those big 80 plus purchases all the time, or you can at least build some steam until you get to that point. But just research. There's plenty of YouTube videos out there about starting businesses as resellers, plenty of different tips and platforms that you can do as well. But you got to be consistent. You got to show up all the time. The money comes in when you're consistent, when you're showing up, when you're making the sales, when you're buying the inventory, when you're being present. If I don't put the work in, the profit doesn't come in. And as someone who is relying on my second look profit to help build more towards my goals long term, if I'm not investing that time and my energy, I'm not going to see the result. So you need to make sure that you think about what kind of time can you invest in this opportunity. Okay, so for reselling, you do not need any money to start. Did you hear that in the back? You do not need any money to start. What does that mean, Sarah? Great question. That means that you have items sitting in your closet that I'm sure are fabulous, but they're just not working for you anymore. Shoes, clothing, whatever it may be, electronics in your kitchen, it does not matter. What matters is that all of those cost something at one point, which means they still are worth something now. So I have sold Instant Pots that I used twice and said, I'm never going to use this because I just didn't. Quickly put it on Facebook Marketplace, $65 profit. There you go. Okay, fine. Pulled it in. Toys, shoes, whatever. All you have to do is just get a feel for the business by listing the things you already have. So search in your closet, ask your friends and family and say, hey, I'm going out on this venture. I'm starting a side hustle. I don't really know where it'll go, if it'll go anywhere, but I want to at least try. So if you got anything that you were going to donate already or that you're not interested in keeping, could you pass it along? Because I'd love to put it in my shop. You don't need a logo. You don't need a business name. You don't need any of that. You can just be like, I'm Sarah and I sell. You don't need to create this big Instagram 10,000 plus platform. You can go on Facebook Marketplace as yourself. You can create a Poshmark account. You have to create a username for that, but it could just be your name. And then you're up there just listing items and learning the platforms. Just get familiar with it and get comfortable with it without spending a dime. On that as well, if you are going to ship, so for example, on Poshmark, Mercari, etc., those platforms, they provide shipping. Poshmark specifically, it's all covered through USPS. So they print the label, they do all of that for you. Excuse me, they create the label, you print it. All of that's done for you. The post office, you can go on their site and they provide you free shipping information. So free boxes, free priority mail stickers, free. You don't have to pay for anything. You have all those shipping supplies right at your fingertips if you're going through the post office. And it's free. They even let you do scheduled pickups. So I have a ton of packages going out tomorrow, and all I'm gonna do is schedule it on the app, and then my lovely postman is gonna come tomorrow, pick them up, and drop them off for me. All I'd have to do is take something out of my closet, photograph, and put it online, and the rest is covered. So you can start this with minimal to nothing upfront costs, okay? You are gonna need some space to hold your inventory. So as you grow, I have my attic, everything's in bins, it's organized, I have a spreadsheet, I have all of that. As you grow, that is going to take up more space. So that's something to think about as well. What kind of reseller do I want to be? Do I have a maximum amount of space? So can I only at any given time sell 50 items? Okay, cool. All right, I sold 50 and I really think I can do 100. I'm gonna clear out a space in the basement. I'm gonna clear out my guest room upstairs. I'm gonna clear out whatever it may be. And that's gonna be my office. And I'm gonna wrap all the items up, and there's plenty of videos for that. And I'm going to have an inventory system, and I'm gonna put them in the bins and say, bin 5 holds this shirt in my spreadsheet. Tip with that too, track everything. So it is a business. So as money is coming in, you want to make sure that you're tracking it, keeping your receipts, all of those things. Because eventually, if you get big enough, you'll have to do taxes. It is what it is. But when you have all that information in a spreadsheet, it's easy to access. I, for a very long time, had all my stuff upstairs. Someone would buy something and I'm like, where did I put that? Where is it? Huh? I didn't have it in a spreadsheet. I just kind of had it in a bin and I would go up and grab it. Do not do that. Do not. It is crazy amount of stress time that you have to invest. And I don't want to do that anymore. So now everything is nicely labeled in a bin. I go on my spreadsheet and I say, philosophy sweater. It comes up, oh, it's in this bin. I walk right upstairs. I grab it, plop it in, done. I made sure too, I had it on Excel for a while. I don't have QuickBooks or any of those other things, although I am trying it out. I moved it to a Google Doc because that way I could quickly pull it up on my phone too and in real time edit and whatever. So before I had just my computer, I moved it to that. So you want to make sure that you're using the right platforms. If you want to use QuickBook or any of those other things, they are paid services. Welcome to do so. I just personally look to cut costs wherever possible. So right now I do not do that. Alongside the money as well, you're going to want to have a separate banking account. I, for a while, was mixing my Second Look money into my personal banking account, and it was way too hard and crazy for me to track personally. So I opened up a separate account in a separate bank. The money from Second Look goes into that bank account. I have a card just for that I do my upfront inventory, because you're going to have, once you use the things in your house that were free or that were given to you and you grow, if you go to the store to buy things, that's upfront cost that you're going to have to spend before you get that money back when it sells. So you have to think about that. Like, how much can I invest every week? Can I invest $20 a month? Can I invest $20 a week? You could invest 20 and make 300 that week. So then you just keep reusing that same $20 every single time you go shopping, because you're making that money times XYZ back, and you put it into your account. You're not paying yourself, you're not doing any of that. And I'm not going to talk financials because that's like a whole other video. But you want to make sure that you at least have a way to track your money that's coming in and you're spending too. And that, to me, I found to be very helpful in a separate banking account, so the money was not commingled. So you want a spreadsheet, you want to keep your receipts. Even if I just throw them all in a bag, and every month, like, I just put them in my spreadsheet, and I just throw it in there, but that I have them so that if I ever got questioned, I could document. You want to put it all in there. You want to figure out how you want to get paid. So on Poshmark, you don't need to worry about any of that. So if you open up your own Instagram, like shop, for example, like I have Venmo and PayPal and everything else attached to it, and I have to do receipts and invoices and a whole different type of tracking. Poshmark, you link your bank account, and again, I do my own shipping too. They create the shipping label, you get the free post office supplies, you sell it on there, and all you have to do is ship it out, and it directly deposits to your bank. Some people prefer just to be on the platform because of that. It is a little bit more work to sell off the platform. I like it because it allows me to interact more with my local customer base and to sell things quicker without fees, because these selling apps do have fees. They differ per app. And again, you can look that all up, doing your research, going back to one of those points. And alongside that, it's easier when you're starting out. Facebook Marketplace, people just pick it up from your porch, or you meet them, or whatever it is, and it's just a cash exchange generally. So some people like doing that too, because there's no shipping, there's no whatever, it's just cash. Whatever you're comfortable with, just think to yourself though that, like, if you're going to open up your own page or your own website, that's a whole nother beast, and I'd be happy to do a video just on that. But that's where, like, the Venmo and the PayPal and everything else comes in. Starting out, I would suggest setting yourself up on a platform first and trying that and see how things sell before you get too crazy into, like, your own business account world. That's just my advice with that. So, like I said, start on one. And the nice thing too is that if you start on Poshmark and you really like it, and you're like, I want to go to Mercari. And Mercari is great because it's a selection of things. It's like homewares, kids' toys, vintage. It's all over the place, like candles. Not that you can't sell that stuff on Poshmark, but Poshmark is well known as a clothing app. And so Mercari is a little bit more mixed, but you can cross list. So you can go on your computer, which most people just say on their phone. But if you got everything in Poshmark, you just copy paste, open up your Mercari account, and just drop it right in there. So now you're selling on multiple platforms, which goes back to the idea of multiple revenue streams. Don't limit yourself just to one unless you want to. Some people make 6 figures and more just on Poshmark. They just stick in that one lane. Totally your call. But you do have the ability to cross list. Before you do that though, like I said, I suggest you get comfortable with one. eBay can be a little tricky with payments and shipping and whatnot. It's not daunting and it's not impossible, but it is a little different and trickier than some of the other platforms. So there is a link in my Instagram bio that you can sign up for Poshmark and get a credit, or Mercari. I suggest you go through one of those to sign up to get more information, and you automatically get some credit. So there you go. Try that out. Let's see, anything else? So again, like, knowing the platforms, research your videos on that, keeping it to what you're comfortable with. Poshmark, again, makes the label. Mercari can make the label too, but when you go through your own shipping, you can't do that on Poshmark, but you can on Mercari. On Mercari, you can sell and say, like, you don't want to deal with shipping on the Mercari site. You can actually go through sites like Shippo or Pirate Ship, which I use both, and you weigh and measure the item yourself, which requires you getting a scale. But you weigh and measure the items yourself, and then you control the shipping. On Poshmark, it's a flat shipping of $7.11 that has gone up this year, and fees. So, you know, there is that. Again, knowing the nuances of your platforms will help you. And equipment, so you're going to want to know your materials, what you're going to need for that. You don't need a lot to start. So if you got some boxes left over from things that you've had, like all those Amazon boxes that were delivered during quarantine time because you bought all that stuff you didn't need, There you go. Reuse the boxes. You can ship in those. Again, you can go through United States Postal Service website and just request all their boxes. You just have to make sure that you can't ship something in a priority mail box if it's not priority mail. Poshmark automatically sends you priority mail shipping labels, so you're going to need a way to get those labels. So whether you have a printer to print them out, I have a Rollo, which is a thermal printer. It prints out on sticky labels. There's no ink needed. It's a one-time cost, and boom, you have it, and you never have to pay for anything but the labels again. So with the printer, you have the printing, the ink, you've got the paper, you've got to tape it on. Like, it just, I found like the quick peel and stick much, much easier, and so I made that investment. Dymo, all those machines. There's plenty of things you can do. A scale if you're doing your own shipping. You're gonna want a measuring tape, because that's how you can tell like how long something is. So when someone says, what's the inseam on those jeans I'm interested in, you have a measuring tape to be able to measure that. Luckily for you, I have created an entire list of my favorite reselling products, like a steamer. You're gonna want a steamer because nobody wants to like buy something that's wrinkled. Your photographs really, really matter too with reselling, or really with any business. I only use my iPhone. I have a photography kit with lights, specialty lighting that I use at certain times. I'm just using my iPhone. I downloaded Lightroom. I have free apps that I do in that with the lighting, and I just click to make it look consistent. And I use real light during the day when possible, and the lighting lamps at night when I have to photograph at night. I didn't buy anything special. Some people use really nice cameras. I have my phone. So it really, it's whatever. Presentation is important. And, I would suggest you look over what looks like a good picture and what doesn't. Once you're done with all the photos, you can just take them off your phone, drop them into like a Google photo drive on your laptop, and then they're right there. And then again, you can just quickly transfer them into your Poshmark, your Mercari, whatever it may be. But I have a link in my bio that is all my reselling favorites. The polymers that I use for shipping out when it's not on Poshmark, or even when it is, because I want to make it a little more custom. You're going to want tape. So tape to like tape your boxes and things like that. If you want any little thank you stickers, if you want to do thank you notes. Again, you're your brand, so how you market your items. I give away a free sticker with purchase to all of my customers. I have little stickers on there that I've just created that's from my Rollo that say like, thank you so much, this is this and this. There's a lot of things in that link that will be of help to you, so please check that out. The biggest thing that if you've gotten to this point, which this is way longer than I anticipated, so rock on, but if you've gotten to this point, just keep this in mind. Your business is yours. You can run it as you see fit. You can do whatever you think that you want to try to see if it works for you or not. I've seen really successful people trying and doing certain methods. Then I implement it and it goes south. It does not work for me at all. It's because it wasn't authentic. It wasn't who I am. It was me trying to mimic something that somebody else was successful with, which I know people have done to me. They've been like, Sarah, like, you're killing it, but I tried that and it didn't work at all. Well, it worked for me, but that doesn't mean it's going to work for you. It has to be authentic to your brand. So be willing to try. I think this is a community where you can really give some creative license, but you can also thank people for the work that they're doing and take that and mimic, but also make it your own and not recreate the wheel. There's plenty of options for that, but lots of different things that you can do with this, with any business that you're starting. Have the flexibility to just try it. Maybe make yourself a business plan. There are plenty of free templates online. Sit down. This is what I want to do. I want to like make this amount of money, or I want to do this consistently every month and spend this amount of money to make that kind of money. I only want to do Poshmark. What do I got to do for that? I only want to sell off my porch from Facebook Marketplace. What do I got to do for that? It's totally achievable. Like I said, you don't have to spend a dime. And there's people out there like myself who are resources and willing to talk. So even though this is just a video that you're watching or you've scrolled through by this point, and you have questions afterwards, or you have questions at any time in general, by all means, please message me. I would love to help you get started. I'm always building and learning new things. There are so many different ways that you can do this and be successful, but there are some very proven ways that I have found that multiple people are doing across the board, and it's because they work. And there's no shame in doing something that works because it's consistent and it's shown to be a best practice. You can be your own unique, eclectic seller and self and entrepreneur while also doing things that have shown like streamlined success. So be willing to recreate, but also fall in line with some things that are going to help you get to that bottom line that you're trying to achieve and the goal. So Two last things. I have a little piece of paper that I keep on me at with all times with my 3 whys. Why do I do this? And sometimes I need to look at it because I do spend a good amount of work and time on my business. And your business is how much time you want to invest. So again, some people are like, I do no more than 20 hours a month, or I do, 5 hours a week. I do it as much as I possibly can because I am trying to make a bigger cause here for myself with the goals that I have. So it's really like figuring out what your opportunities are and then sticking to them. And if you can grow, do it. But my little why sheet are my 3 reasons. I want financial freedom, I want time freedom, and I want to get out of my debt. So that's debt that I've accumulated from my past marriage, and then my student loan debt. So I throw a lot of things at that. And then the ability to live the life that I want to live, how I want to live it, and a couple other things. So I have more than 3, but I keep it in my wallet. I look at it all the time and I carry it because I really need that as like my reminder as to my why. So do that. And then my other announcement is that I've just started doing reselling boxes too. So for $35, you can get a box of 8 items that brands like from Athleta, J. Crew, New Attack. I get some free people in there. It's a mystery box, so it's a random mix of items and sizes and seasons and 1 pair of shoes for $35 for local pickup or $35 in shipping. And I would let you know what your shipping is pending your area. And it gives you a chance to just get some items that I would definitely sell in my closet. I just need to move because I've got new items coming in, and try a hand for yourself. So it's a really great price considering the fact that a lot of those items will sell decently well in the box. So you could at least double if not triple your value. So message for more details if you'd like to see about that. Thank you for sticking to the end if you have by now. Again, this is Sarah out of Rochester, New York, Second Look Styling. I just launched a home line too, sustainable home, all sustainable items that I've now added to the shop for home and space decor. Check those out. Check out my shop page. Thanks for following along. I do a video every week and I hope to see you back next week. Thanks, guys.